Rizal, it's I think it's your show today. So take it away.
Okay. So basically, good morning everyone, and yeah, basically, me ask Burcu to um, reevaluate our Facebook ads previously. So basically, that our campaign has that we that our previous campaign that we already launched, and then Burcu is I believe she's already evaluate this, and maybe to Burcu, can you please
Yeah,
do yours? Yeah,
sure.
thank
I'll
you.
take over. So I do have a few things present you to today. Let me start by sharing my screen. And this one. I'll
Quick
share.
question, Virtue.
Yeah, sure.
Do you mind if we record this session for future reference?
Sure. Sure, of course. As long as you don't share it with anyone or share,
Okay, got
actually
it.
share, in general, share about this meeting on social media, because since I've started working now, I don't want them to think badly of me.
Oh, okay, got it. Where are you working now, Virtue?
I started at somewhere called Smartly, which was one of our major competitors, actually.
Revenge.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be good. I'll be working with Turkish customers.
Okay, great. And you're in Singapore, yes?
Right now, yes, but I'm actually going to be moving to Berlin in a few months, whenever I can, really.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Okay, so right now I'm at Rizal's account, and I'm looking at your campaigns here. So are you familiar with this view, or is there anything I can show you around? So right now this is the ads manager, and let me start from the beginning. So in this point here in the business tools, you can actually have access to many other things other than just the ads manager. So for example, if you want to add someone to this business manager, what you can do is, oops, sorry, I went wrong. They change these every day, so it can be difficult to get accustomed to a bit. Let's go back to ads manager and let me start from there. Okay, there we go. So here we are at the ads manager view, and I know, Rizal, you sent me something about the unique accommodation campaign. It's this campaign, right? That you were talking about.
Yeah, basically, that's the one of ad set that we're targeting differently as before. So this is ad set that targeting guests rather than property owners.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is actually KPI setting. So for example, in this case, the campaigns are optimizing for purchases, but right now there are no purchases, and the reach and the impressions are quite low to bring a purchase in a way. So in those cases, actually, instead of setting the results number as purchase, you can actually set it as something, an event in the funnel that is that happens more. So ideally, that's something that happens at least 10 times a day. So let's take a look at what this can be, right? So I'm going to change the columns here, and then we customize the columns. So let's see what kind of events that you are sending through. Once this loads, or my computer is super low today. There we go. Okay, so let's go down and see. For example, we might be doing, you might be looking for search. Do you know, Rizal, what you're sending through the pixel?
Basically, I just set it to WhatsApp because our website has doesn't have a booking booking site. So yeah, basically, we use WhatsApp to set up the inquiry.
Okay, so in that case, actually, it's normal that we don't see any purchases, right? Because it's not firing any purchase pixel. Am I understanding that correctly? Let's take a look at your pixel.
Yeah, but my other question is when okay, so basically our booking destination is only using Airbnb. Is there any
Mm-hmm.
a way to set up the pixel to site like Airbnb or
You can set up your own pixel. They won't be setting up your pixel, but you can ask them if they would set up your pixel and then connect it. But it's very technically difficult to do. Normally, like a business intelligence person would be doing it. Okay, looking at these, you have page view, contact, and also submit application firing in terms of the events from this one. And then let's see this one of your events. So the reason why I'm looking at this right now is because if we don't send Facebook any activity in terms of our KPI in the campaigns, then Facebook will not know who the relevant people are and won't be able to optimize. That's why it's very important that when we do set up this results number and it's the optimization goal for the campaign, it needs to be something that Facebook can optimize. So for example, this one, there's messaging conversations started and there's already 5 of them. So that's really good. That means that Facebook can actually optimize for those things. But because here our results are things like purchases, website contact, post engagement. Post engagement is, I guess you could, it's mainly because it's not running any. So these things, like for example, this one, let me actually sort this by impression. So all of these campaigns, although they are running, although they did spend money, they were not able to bring you anything because, we don't know because they were never firing. And Facebook wasn't able to optimize these campaigns because these events never came to it. So in that sense, always make sure that whatever you're giving as your result, it is something that's firing. It is something that you can count. Otherwise, the campaign has no point to it. So that's my first suggestion to you. Either to maybe instead of putting purchase, what you can do is so let's go to the Bukit Vista website. So what you can do here in this case, do I have, okay, I'm in incognito, so I won't be able to see, but so this is probably sending people to these resorts, right? Because we want people to purchase one of these things. Is that correct, Rizal?
yes.
Okay. So what you can do is, for example, when someone clicks, let me actually move this to here, and you'll see the reason why in a second. I have my Pixel Helper here. I think I mentioned this to you before. So Pixel Helper shows me what is firing on every page. And for example, let's go to here. So as soon as I click find a room, you can fire something that lets you know that this button has been clicked. So there is, as you're sending to Airbnb, of course, you're not able to put any pixels on this page because this belongs to Airbnb. What you can do is you can put pixel on this button instead. So as you're doing this event, so this moment when it's still loading, it can fire a pixel. And that can let you know that this button has been clicked and you sent it to someone. You can even put certain UTM tags to let you know which button exactly it is. So you can fire different events for different buttons, and you can then know what it is exactly. So it won't be like I worked with Trivago before, and this is sort of similar where you're doing a click out rather than a purchase event. So you can actually call this a purchase for you because you're essentially giving a click out. And so this can be your final result that happens on your own domain.
I see.
So you can do something like that, for example. You can check out how to implement the pixels more on here at the Events Manager.
Okay, noted, Burcu.
So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. And then the other thing is actually A/B tests. So if you go to here, I see that there are lots of A/B tests going on here. for example, you have this one. There are lots of A/B tests, which is great. Doing A/B tests is definitely a good thing to do. But in this particular case, what you're doing, and correct me if I'm understanding it wrong, to decide which creative to run for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have the creative A here, and then you have the creative B here. So in these cases, actually, when you're testing creative, and the budget is quite low in this case, it's just $2.5 a day for each side. For these types of cases, what you can do is you can actually just run without running any A/B tests. So you can have, and these two ad sets are targeting the same group of people, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, what you can do is you can actually have just one ad set and run both of the creatives under this one ad set. And then what that will do is that you won't have to divide your audience into two. So your reach will actually be much higher. And Facebook will actually decide which creative would be better for you, and will start pushing that more often than the other one. So, and this way you won't have to divide your performance, and therefore actually bringing it down a bit. So
it's
you
like,
are able to do that.
okay, sorry. So it's like for A/B test, or so yeah, it's
No. Oh, sorry, someone's here. You don't have to do. Oh, okay, you already accepted. You don't have to do any A/B test in this case. You can just have one ad set. Let me check if you have any something like that. Let's see this one. Actually, this is also an A/B test. Okay, similar one. So what you can do is you can add two different creatives under one ad set without any A/B tests. So just delete this one and then add the creative here under this one ad set. And then what that will do is Facebook will decide whether the creative A or creative B performs better, and then we'll start to push. If, let's say, creative B is performing better, Facebook will start to push that. The reason why we would want to do an A/B test is, for example, if our budget is, let's say, hundreds of dollars per day, and we really want to know whether having a blue background versus a red background performs better. And we would look at it for maybe like a week or 2 weeks. And then once we decide, we would turn off the one that's not performing, and then use that knowledge, let's say the blue one, use that knowledge that the blue background works better, and use that for all of the creatives that we use in all of the other campaigns. So that's the point of the A/B test, really. So rather than testing it like this for a small campaign like this one, you can actually just put them all together and let it run. There's nothing wrong with what you did here, just you could actually bring the performance higher. So there's like a optimization, there's a opportunity of optimization here that you can do.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
Burcu, I have a question.
Sure.
So because the budget is too low, so you mean that you don't need to make A/B test because the budget is too low?
That is one of the reasons. The other reason I would say is the setup itself. So we want to know whether, let me actually show you, whether this creative, the creative under this one, we want to know whether this creative, the CSC save or save more, stay longer, performs better. And in this case, let's take a look. The performance is quite on par. And this one receives a bit more impressions, but we don't really have any other indications for us to know exactly which one has won. And I would say this is not a very significant difference. This could be because the spend is quite low, so there isn't enough to, it might need to run a much longer, maybe like a month or so, to come up with like a more significant result in this case. But instead of doing that, instead of waiting for running this for a month just to know whether this one or this one won, you can start running this immediately. And what Facebook can do is, because they are under the same ad set, Facebook automatically runs sort of like an A/B test within itself, and decides after maybe like 1,000 impressions, Facebook decides, okay, the ad B performs better than ad A, so I'm going to push more of ad B. So, and you will see this in any campaign that you have more than one creative under one ad set. Because think of it this way: you're telling Facebook, show creative A to everyone in Indonesia. We also have, let's say we also say show creative B to everyone in Indonesia without doing any A/B test. So in that case, Facebook has to decide what would the people in Indonesia want to see, whether A or B. So it sort of starts this like A/B test by showing both of them to random people in Indonesia, and then after maybe like 1,000 impressions, it makes a decision. It says, okay, people are spending more time looking at ad B than ad A, so I'm going to push more of ad B. So you will see suddenly ad B is spending more of the budget, it's getting more of the impressions, and it's bringing you more performance at the end of the day.
I see. Thank you.
So instead of spending the same amount for both of them, you will see that the budget is shifting towards one over time.
Okay.
So that's another thing that I wanted to let you know about. Let's see, I also made a note here about this unique accommodation, the bid strategy. Okay, so again, similar to this one, the bid strategy here, what you have is you're bidding for number of conversions, and it is actually purchased. Again, this is an optimization thing that because it's looking for purchases to bid, it's not able to optimize. But more so, let's say even if we've had purchases, you have a $25 cost control here with a target cost. In this case, I actually wouldn't suggest to put a cost control because there aren't enough purchases. So in a way, I'm telling Facebook, bring me a purchase that is lower than $25. But right now, it's not able to bring anything. So any spend is freaking Facebook out. It's saying, oh no, I spent $6 already and my cost is going higher every day. So I should not be spending because I have my cost control and I'm going to hit it. So in a way, if you're not able to give results to Facebook, or if your result is, or if your budget is low, like this one, you can actually, and if you of course think that you're able to spend the entire budget every day, then I would say don't control it with a cost. You can just put target cost without any cost control, and you can go ahead and run the campaigns. Because in this case, Facebook is thinking every impression in this case that it's spending the money on is a risk for it to hit this cost. So that's how it's thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Another.
Awesome. Okay, so, and then finally, okay, I actually have two more things. So the other thing I wanted to show you about is the difference between optimization goal versus the campaign goal. So optimization goal is what you see in results here. So for example, messaging conversions, conversation started. And I think, honestly, this has been a fantastic campaign. You can definitely take a look at this as an example. And the reason being is that in this campaign, it's very clear what you want. You want messaging conversations started, and you did get a lot of impressions, you got reach, you have a cost per result, and the frequency is not that high, which is also great. And you even had some unique link clicks, which is really good. So you can take a look at this campaign as an example. And what I want to show you is what does the campaign, so the campaign has an objective. Each campaign has an objective. The objective doesn't necessarily have to match with your results. So for example, for this unique accommodation campaign, I think this campaign is a conversions campaign, which means that it makes sense. We want conversions out of this campaign, but you don't necessarily have to optimize for purchase. You can actually optimize for link clicks in this case, and link clicks can be your purchase. In such cases, I would actually suggest to optimize either for link clicks or messaging like conversations started like this, something that one, you can count, and two, something that will be easier to bring more than 10 conversions, so that Facebook can actually start optimizing. And that's the main difference. So your results doesn't necessarily have to match with the campaign objective. Campaign objective can be, I think you can actually add the objective here. Let me take a look at this. The campaign objective can be conversions, like I said, but your optimization goal doesn't have to be conversions. It can be a link click. Yep, there you go. Let's add the objectives here. You can also run some link clicks campaigns even. Okay, yeah, there we go. I want to put this in the beginning actually. So let me just do that 1 moment. Yep. Okay, so let's take a look at these. Okay, so for example, we have a messages objective. This is fantastic, honestly. This is like, fits with all the best practices in Facebook. And the other ones are conversions. I see you've tried a catalog sales campaign. Again, this is also fantastic. Catalog sales are a great way to reach people. And then you have some conversions. So in these cases, for example, one thing that you did here is this is a conversions campaign, but your result is website contact, which can be, I think this does exist on your pixel. So it could be something that could have fired, and that could be really good. On Facebook lead is also a good one because Facebook can actually count those. Traffic and link click can work. So take a look at these. Like, how does my objective gel with my results in a way? They don't have to be the same. They don't have to match exactly 101. But you have to think about what is it exactly and how are they interacting. The thing with objective. I'll tell you the main difference between these two. Objective is something on the campaign level, and it doesn't actually affect the optimization at all, believe it or not. Facebook just sees this as a way to give you more options in terms of what is relevant for you. So when you have a conversions campaign, for example, you have the option to choose purchase as your result. However, if you're running a traffic campaign, for example, you have the option to choose link click as your result. If you're running conversions campaign, you can also choose a lead. So in a way, objective changes what can you choose as your result. But other than that, objective doesn't actually have anything to do with optimization. It just changes your options. But your result, however, is the main thing that Facebook looks at when optimizing. So that's the most important thing, that you have to make sure that there are numbers here when you're running a campaign. Does that make sense? Is there any questions about this?
Yeah, basically I just for make the result working, we also, like, on the website contact, we have to set up the pixel in the correct way first, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes. So make sure when you go to here, I'll show you this as well. When you go to Events Manager here, you will be able to see what is firing and how many times it is firing. So you have 2 pixels. Make sure that you're choosing, oh, why did it fail to load? It didn't fail to load in a second. Let's see. So yeah, make sure that you're choosing, I have no idea why this is failing right now. I'm sorry about that. Make sure that you're choosing the right pixel on the campaign as well, that it is firing. Let me try again. If it's not working, I'll stop. Facebook can also be buggy sometimes, yeah. Maybe just this time it's not working for some reason. I'll go back to Ads Manager. Yeah, but basically you can check, you should be able to check it normally in normal times. In such cases.
Okay.
And then make sure that it is something that is firing when you're adding it to the results.
Burcu, I want to ask a question. So the previous time you said that frequency low is a good thing, but why do low frequency is a good thing?
So low frequency, usually when we say low frequency, anything I would say maybe below 3 or 4 is good. If you're going above 4, then you might be in the danger zone. What frequency is how many times an average person is seeing your ad. So if your group that you're targeting is too low, if the number of audience is too low, for example, let's say you're just targeting 100 people. In that case, your entire money will be spent on that 100 people, and it's very likely that, let's say you have 8,000 impressions. It means that those 100 people probably saw your ad about 8 times, which can be a bit too much. In this case, for example, the average person that saw your ad 1.1 times. So it's like maybe one, some people saw it twice, but it's no big deal. So this is really, really good to have. It's usually at 1 or 2. Frequency is calculated by dividing impressions over reach. So how many unique people saw any given impression. And that's how it's calculated. And that's why it's a metric that we look at to make sure that we're not boring our audience. Or it can also indicate that maybe your audience is too small and your budget is too large for that audience. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Burcu.
Yeah, no problem. And then I have one final idea for you, actually. That's something that you can do. I saw that in one of these, I don't remember which one, that you had some video campaigns. What you can do with those videos, I think it might be this one. What you can do with those videos actually is you can retarget the people who have watched the video. So when you're creating an audience, when you're creating a new campaign, you can create an audience off of those people who have watched that video, maybe 100% or maybe 50% of the video, depending on how big the audience is. And you can create sort of like a retargeting audience with those video viewers. And especially I was thinking this for your property ads. So if you're showing like, advertise your property with us, blah, blah. But if you're doing something like that, and if that person has watched the video 100%, so if they watch the entire video, chances are they are probably interested in doing something with you. So you can retarget those people who have watched the video 100% and show the ads to remind them of the ad that they watched and bring them to your website. So you can run like a sort of maybe a link click campaign off of the people who have already watched the ad. So that's just an idea that I thought we could be doing to bring the people back and using the video as well.
I see. So on the video campaign, do you do you prefer using messaging landing or use website landing?
I would say actually you could that could be like a video view objective campaign, because the first objective for that video campaign would be to get people to watch 100%, so that we will have a large enough audience. And for the second campaign, so in the first campaign, you can your main KPI can be to get people to watch the entire video. You can also have like some words for them to click, so they can actually immediately go to the website if they're interested. But our main goal for that video would be to get people to watch it 100%. And then for the next one, you can create that the audience off of the people who have watched it 100%. Because the reason why this works for a lot of our clients actually is that think of it yourself. Most of the time you're on your phone when you're looking at Facebook, and you might be watching a video, looking at some stuff. So you're not necessarily in that business mode, but when you see something that catches your attention, it sort of sticks in your mind. And Facebook knows that. So Facebook usually shows video ads if that person is on mobile. So they will see your ad when they're not necessarily in a business mind, but you can sort of let them know of your brand. Then later with the link click, you can catch them when they're more in a business mind, and maybe they're on their desktop, maybe they're more comfortable doing something more serious. So at that point, you might be catching them and getting them to convert on or contact you on your campaign.
I see. So this is only work for video campaign only, or the other campaigns that can also save the audience?
The other campaigns you can use for example, if you have a link click campaign, you can put a UTM tag on the landing page, and then you can retarget those people who have landed on that page. So people who have made a certain page view, you can retarget those people. And that's also how another way you can retarget. But usually video one works quite well to build the audience.
I see. Okay, noted. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Any other questions? Those were all the things that I had prepared to tell you about, but I can also answer any other questions if you have any.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, I have a question. That okay. Basically, we're targeting ads that targeting ads that with different country, right? So it's like we want to find market in Indonesia, and then in the Thailand, into Singapore. So is there any tips or trick, or how to targeting the audience that in different target area, or is that any any way to create a universal message to targeting this area? Yeah.
I would say one thing you can try is testing different languages. So, for example, if you're targeting Thailand, you could also try to advertise in Thai. I don't know if you want people speaking in Thai if they cannot speak English, but that could also grow your audience much larger. In Singapore, almost everyone speaks English, so that could be fine. But for example, in Thailand, chances are people speaking in English might be lower. So I'm not sure if you're already doing it. You might already be doing it. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I clicked wrong. So let's see this one. So you can think of different languages and how that affects. So what you can do is, for example, maybe do different language versions of the same ad. So you can have the English version, the Thai version. For Singapore, you can have a Chinese version, for example, Mandarin Chinese version. Okay, yeah, so this is in English. So that way you might be able to reach a lot more people, especially in places like Thailand where English is not the main language. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, my pain point is when I targeting using, let's say I target Bali audience, but with I use a universal message, and then I use this universal message and targeting the Thai area, but the number of performance is it's quite a big difference. So it's well performed in Bali, but not well performed in Thailand. So yeah, basically this that.
Yep. That is actually quite normal because that happens because of the difference in competition in the market. So every market has a value. For example, advertising in US is going to be much more expensive than advertising in Thailand, for example. And that's simply because of the competition in the market. So that's why your CPMs will be, your cost per mille, cost per impression, will be much different between these countries, because each country in a way has its own economy of Facebook ads. You can think of it that way, and Facebook decides how expensive giving an ad should be in each country. So it sort of sometimes inflates. For example, when someone maybe there's like a big advertiser doing like a mega sale, and suddenly all of your CPMs and costs will go high, and that might just be because there is a new competition in the market and they're doing this mega sale. So it's sort of like a dynamic economy that can change. What you can do is I would usually suggest to try not to compare the ads to each other if they're from the same market, but try to compare them within themselves. So for Thailand, for example, look at how many people you've reached and how many impressions you've got from that campaign, for example. And then when you're running it the next day or for a next campaign, try to make it better than that. Try to compare it within itself rather than comparing it to each other, because each economy is different. Each market is very different. So they will bring you different results even though you're using the same creative.
I see. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think Dani have a question.
Okay. My question will be a little bit far from the Facebook ads, but I tried to create a strategy how to how to apa namanya how to grow the Facebook page to getting more leads, but organically. So have you any strategy to do that?
I unfortunately don't do too much organic stuff, but what I can suggest could be one thing you can do is try to look at each post and how they're performing. You could even run some not necessarily A/B tests, but tests just for yourself. Post maybe different versions that have the same message, maybe different images that have the same message, and try to see which one gets more engagement. Engagement is the key to growing your audience organically on Facebook, especially if you're looking at your Facebook page. You can try to see see which one gets the most engagement. The reason why engagement is key is because how Facebook now that they've changed the new algorithm for organic, how it works is that when you post something, let's say you have 100 people in your people who liked your page, right? So you expect those 100 people to see your post. Back then, in like maybe 2015, 2014, those 100 people, they would exactly see your post. So you would get exactly 100 impressions for your post. It would be perfect. Now, with the new algorithm, I think, yeah, they changed this 2017, 18 maybe. What happens is that when you post something, first, one of your, and I'm exaggerating, but out of that 100 people, maybe one of your likers will see that post. If they engage with that post, and engagement means could be maybe they liked it, maybe they commented on it, maybe they shared it. Once they make that engagement, the second person will see. Once that second person makes an engagement, the 4 people will see. So it just multiplies like that. So it's not just because you posted something, those 100 people will see it exactly, but it will gradually grow as there is more engagement. And you will also see it completely stop if there is no engagement. So if that first person doesn't engage with it, too bad, your post is going to unfortunately die. And that's something that Facebook did to push more of its inorganic content, so to push more for its post boosting, for example. And it's completely Facebook's algorithm that is doing it to push people more towards boosting posts to get engagement, because as they get engagement, more of their page likers will see, and the more people they will reach at the end, even the people that may not have liked their page. But growing it organically just by itself, I would say just try to generate content that brings engagement, that brings those page likes, the comments, the shares, because those will be the posts that work well. You can also revive posts. So if there's a post that worked well before, for example, you can bring it back and see how the audience will react it now. So you can do something like that. And of course, you can do post boostings, which can work really well as well, especially, for example, if there is a post that organically works well, so you already have some engagement on it, you can boost that post later to bring it even higher engagement, so make it even better. So yeah, those would be my suggestions, I would say. I'm not a big expert on organic content, but that's how I would suggest you to do.
Okay, thank you, Burcu. I think we have some questions.
Yes, thank you, Johnny. Burcu, what you just said actually triggered a thought. So this idea of like sequential engagement and getting your post to sort of grow virally in a way, like okay, it's like it's almost like a vote, right? The first person has to vote.
Yep.
The first person votes, the second person will see it.
Exactly.
That makes the timing super important then, right?
Yep.
Because if you don't, got it. Okay.
Exactly. So that first person that sees the post is extremely important. So if you also yourself, I'm sure you also like the page. If you see it, engage with it. Share it for your friends, your family to engage with it, because the more engagement, the more people will see them, and that's how it grows.
Okay. And the second question I had was about organic. I know this wasn't the topic that you
No,
just
no worries.
but I was thinking about. I think we have a transition or a transformation sort of situation on Instagram and on Facebook. The early audiences on Facebook and Instagram, I think, were just whoever engaged, right? So we just said, okay, whoever engaged, we want to target them. But now we realize that this isn't specifically a audience that we want to keep long term. The audience is not people who will buy our product or unlikely to buy our product or unlikely to actually use their services. They just like the pictures that we put up because these travel pictures. In that particular circumstance, would you think it's better to start again with a new audience or to form the existing audience towards the more targeted audience that we desire?
I would say the existing audience would be fine, because the more followers you have, even though it doesn't necessarily bring you revenue immediately, it actually brings you validity. So when someone who is interested in your product, who is interested in maybe advertising their property with you, that person may look at your Instagram account and see, okay, so this many people do follow them, so they must be legit. So in a way, it gives you validity in the eyes of those people. So instead of just giving you revenue immediately, they might just be your validity points in a way. But when you're doing ads, so when you're running inorganic content, in those cases, I wouldn't suggest you to target the people who like your page or follow you on Instagram. Don't use that audience, because we know that audience will not perform. Use an audience, maybe like an interest targeting, or you can use maybe someone who have interacted with your posts before, or maybe in like a CRM list that you have. So use those as your audience base rather than your page likers.
Got it. And the next question that popped into mind, we noticed that when we started shifting our content towards, before we were getting, I think, fans that were just sort of like kids in the neighborhood, right? And we want to shift it to guests. We noticed that there was a drop in engagement, and there was as we transitioned the content. I told the team that was normal, because I'm thinking it's like you're a DJ and you're changing the track of music now.
Yeah.
So some people are going to walk off the floor, right? But
exactly.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, exactly. It's actually very common to see that drop of engagement. But what we're looking for is maybe after a week or so, or maybe some time after, that it should start going up. So usually what we see is you might be going like this, and then you change something, it drops, but then it should come back up. So that's the coming back up that we're looking for. If it's not coming up after a while, then I would suggest you shift it again, see what works for your audience. And you will start seeing that rise up again, and it will go even higher. So usually when we are running campaigns, for example, the type of graph that we usually see is like it goes down, it comes back up, it goes down, it comes back up. So usually it's a gradual process. It comes like waves in a way.
Got it. And okay, I just thought of another question. I noticed on like Instagram, there's no way to monitor your audience composition over time. So whenever you look at your audience, you just see a snapshot of this is what your audience is. Do you guys use tools to do that, or do you just sort of like screenshot it and save it somewhere?
What do you mean when you say audience composition? Like what's the type of data you're looking for?
I'm looking for, let's say, for example, right?
Mhm.
Our audience before was mostly from Denpasar, and they were mostly
Mhm.
between the ages of, I think, 18 and 25, right? So
Mhm.
that's not our traveler segment. So
Yeah.
what I was looking for is there a graph specifically that can track like your
Mm,
position over time? Because every time we look at it on Instagram, the
yeah.
analytics show like a snapshot. This is what it looks like today.
Mhm.
The progress I think for that I've been asking for the teams has been, let's watch our audience change and our engagement go at the same time.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we're tracking it now, I believe, is we take a screenshot and we post it on
Mm.
and that's where we sort of see the evolution of an audience.
I
Um,
see.
is there a visualization to sort
There
of
is. So
oh
I would say there is something called an attribution. So you can set it up here. You have to be an admin to do it, so I can't do it now. But this, I think this is mainly what you're looking for. That it shows you like where your audience is coming from, what devices they're coming from, and in a way how they're changing too. So for example, if someone interacted with one of your ads on their mobile, but then when they're on their desktop, they entered your website. So it shows that transition as well. So that might be something that you might be looking for. You can also find similar data on Google Analytics if you're looking at it. But I would say for Facebook purposes, this can also be a good one. The way to go here is, again, from here, you can go to attribution.
I see.
And
Okay.
this should be what you're mainly looking for, I would say. There's also this thing called analytics. Let me also show you. Let's see if this is open for you. So this one shows you more of a, oh, sorry. So this one shows you maybe not necessarily the audience insights that you're looking for, but more so in terms of how you're growing, how active are your users, like top traffic sources, where are they coming from, and things like that. So, and also engagement metrics like active users by hour. So for example, on Thursdays between 9 and 10 p.m. looks like you have the most amount of people.
Interesting.
And Tuesdays 2 a.m. apparently.
Okay.
So this is also something you can take a look at, even for your organic posts too, because this essentially shows you when your active users are active.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you also have to see your bounce rates, your gendered metrics. So you can see male, female, and other unique users. So how old are your users mainly?
Got it.
Where they're from.
So this is the search that uh, gain from Facebook ads, or it's also organic users also.
I believe this is also organic. You can add filters here. You can like create filters of people who came from an ad or came organically. I think you should be able to filter it from here.
I see. Okay.
There's also this thing, which is audience insights. Let me show you what this is as well.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
this one, I believe this one is for your page. So you can see like how many people are in terms of your demographics, page likes. What do people who like your page also like? So for example, a lot of them like Oreos and Gatorade apparently. So you can take a look at these.
Oh, weird.
And how relevant it is.
Okay. Oh.
You can see there. Oh, okay, so this country is U.S. I wonder if we can change that. Oh, here, there we go. So if we say Indonesia, maybe then I think it might show us a better visualization. Let me take this. Okay, so this is where they're from. Let's see other page likes. Okay, so they like the Premier League, UFA, Champions League, for example. and this is the amount of audience. So you can take a look at these and things like this. So it doesn't necessarily show you like the flow of how the audience changed, but you can see how the audience is right now.
Got it. But this is also why
And-
it's important to have the correct audience, right? Because otherwise, it's really okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yep. And all of these you can reach under here, under Analyze and Report. So we've looked at analytics, attribution, and audience insights. Yep. I don't think the other ones will be relevant for you.
Oh, okay.
I'll go back here. Any questions? Any other
Burcu,
questions I can answer
basically-
for you?
Yeah, I have another question. So back to the Facebook ad thing. So basically, I use catalog objective and also conversion objective too, and I want to compare them. And basically, these two ad set is I target the guest, and basically I want to I want to get more buyer, and I get more guests that want to booking. So basically, this two ad sets has same budget and also have two bit and also have same bit cost. But why is the performance is not working same? Yeah, so basically I use on the unique accommodation and the
Is it this one that you mean?
Yeah.
The catalog objective?
catalog sales, and the one is a unique accommodation.
So you're comparing the catalog sales with the unique accommodation campaign here, right? Am I understanding it correct? Okay. Well, one of them is a catalog sales campaign. So this is actually taking the ad from your catalog. Let me show you what it looks like. So the two ads are actually very different. This one is a static ad that you've set up, whereas this one, there is a different algorithm running behind this to show it to people who might be interested in what you're selling. So let me show you. Yep. So you can see this is completely dynamic. It's taking everything from the catalog. So depending on what that person might be interested in more, Facebook is able to play around. So it has more. It has more flexibility to run the campaign. So it can decide to show a different hotel depending on what that person might be interested in. And that's why catalog ads are a fantastic way to do purchase ads. So ads like this, where you're trying to sell something to that person. In that case, this is a very good way of running it. Whereas in the other one, you're showing the same ad no matter what that person might be interested in. So in this one, for example, we know you're showing this particular ad to everyone that sees. There is no difference, no dynamic elements, so it's all the same. And that might be making, I would say that's probably the thing that's making the difference between the two.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, get it. Okay.
Yep. So this is the ad, and we know that you're showing this particular villa to everyone in your audience.
I see. Okay, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's all from me. If there anyone have another question?
Rizal, if I may, what?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Burcu, I saw that you highlighted a few campaigns that what success looks like. What does amazing success look like? What does metal look like?
Yeah. I would say I said that this campaign is a successful example of how to set it up. And the reason being is that mainly compared to the other campaigns, we can see results. So we do see numbers that Facebook can optimize for. It did spend its entire budget. So our lifetime budget was $10.35. And it did spend that entire budget here, we can see. it did bring you impressions, so about 9,000 impressions, and we had 5,000 reach. So looking at these, and we also had 58 unique link clicks. Even though the campaign wasn't necessarily looking for link clicks, it ended up bringing you quite a bit of link clicks here. So our cost per click, if we divide $10.35 to 52, our cost per click is much lower compared to the other campaigns that you've run. And also your cost per mille, CPM, which is the amount of impressions times 1,000 divided by 10, divided by your amount spent, so $10.35. So that number, which also indicates the economy of the place that you're targeting, is also low compared to your other campaigns. So I wouldn't be able to tell you like any benchmarks, say if your CPM is lower than this is good. It's not something like that, but it's more like compared to your other campaigns that might be targeting a similar group of audience or that might be targeting the same market, and compare to them and see how it's performing compared to those. You can also compare it to itself. So especially for daily budget campaigns like this one. So for example, is it spending its entire daily budget? In this case, my indication was whether it did spend its entire lifetime budget, which it did. For example, in this one, this is a daily budget campaign. So if I run this for one day, I'm expecting to spend $5. If I'm not able to spend this $5 exactly, then I need to take a look at who am I targeting? Is my targeting a relevant audience? Or am I optimizing for the right thing? So in this case, we're optimizing for purchase, which we did not receive any. So probably that's why Facebook wasn't able to spend anything for this campaign, for example. So am I spending my entire daily budget? Because when you put a daily budget, the understanding is that you intend to spend that money within that day. And if you're not, then you should take a look at the campaign and try to see how can I make it so it will spend that entire $5 a day.
Interesting. Very good. Very good. Okay. And just based on what you said, so a campaign's success is relative to other similar campaigns and similar ideas that you're putting out. Would a good strategy then be to start with as many campaigns as possible so that you can start identifying what a winner would look like relative? So then if you have enough entrants, if you have enough contestants, then you can see a gold medal, silver medal, and a bronze medal. If you have only like a small pool,
you could do that. I would actually suggest to do a few campaigns, but more ads. So have creative variants. So instead of having a lot of campaigns, you can have a lot of ads under those campaigns. So you can have that creative variant. And like I said, when you have multiple ads under one ad set, for example, Facebook will already run that A/B test for you. So you actually don't have to run it yourself. So Facebook will tell you this is the winner, and it will start pushing that more so than the others anyway. So you won't have to I would still suggest you to check which one performs well so you can apply learnings for other campaigns. But having more of that ad variance will help you decide what works.
Superb. Okay, excellent advice. Back to Rizal.
Yeah, I think. Is there anyone have another question? Nope. I think we already 1 hour session, and I think it's already finished. And I think I want to thank you to Burcu for guiding us and mentoring us until this time. And I think that's all for me. And thank you, Burcu.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Burcu.
Thank you. It was really nice seeing and talking to you guys again as well. Let me know if you have any other questions anytime. I'll be happy to help.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Thank you. You're awesome, Burcu. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Wow. Let's see. What do we get out of that? For the interns, welcome. I know this. Don't worry if you didn't catch all of that. This was optional.